WP, you thought a paladin would make a fine addition to your party. You failed to realize that some of the more obscure paladin oaths can be chaotic or evil. Hash Oath of the Cauldron. Bayorel leaps and rolls, a goblin's axe slicing the earth where he'd stood. The rogue ducks under another swing, dodging his opponent's errant-flung drool, and scurries up behind him, a motion the goblin sees. Dancing around each other, the two curse in their respective tongues, neither one close to slaying the other. Until, with a loud pop and a flash of light, the goblin's movements cease. Bayorel blinks, exhales, and stabs his enemy's gut with a wet crunch. "Thanks, Alcazar," the rogue yells. The wizard pays him no heed, blue cloak and gray beard swishing as he spins, setting an orc aflame. His pointy hat slips, covering his eyes. A troll notices and barrels his way. "Shit!" Bayorel hisses, sprinting to the rescue. Just as he nears the wizard, a pinkish shape charges from the undergrowth, knocking the troll off course. Gakrel the barbarian roars, lifting his axe with great half-giant arms, slamming it into the troll's leg. The creature groans, collapsing to its knees. A brief waft of savory scent drifts by Bayorel's nose. He shakes his head, ignoring it. Before long, more enemies begin emerging over a distant treed ridge in greater number. Ogres striding as kobolds skitter, Tengu gliding in beside hovering wraiths. A shadow dims the forest and disappears with the pounding of huge wings. A monk jumps down from the trees, panting. He goes to talk only to gasp and wheeze, doubling over. "What's wrong?" Bayorel asks. "Halsir, are you all right?" The monk holds up a hand, taking slower and slower breaths until at last, "Sorry. There's a dragon above us." "Oh poop, just what we need," the wizard says, firing off a spell. Damnable thing could burn the forest any second. Gakrel grabs a low branch and hangs from it. "Ima cut thaw bastard down, good leap and me'll be up and soarin'." One would asterisk not hear that kind of foul language at the academy. "Bite me." Relax, Bayorel says. "We have others to fight, so let's leave each other be, right?" The group grumbles, yet they all nod. "Good. Now, Gakrel, I don't think you can jump that high, try as you might. Alcazar, you reckon you could tap said fiery beast with a well-timed spell?" "I could if I had the power of flight. Alas, that spell is unknown to me." "Not to me," says the monk. "Yet there is no time for a lesson, my friend." The wizard waggles his staff. "And you have a distinct disadvantage far as range is concerned." "Yes, I suppose." Alcazar turns back to Bayorel. "What about that paladin fellow? Where is he anyway?" "No clue," says the rogue. "I thought I saw him before. The savory aroma returns, stronger than ever, and beyond the growls of the incoming combatants there is an atonal hum. "But he can't be." "Can he?" "What?" asks the wizard. "I'll be back." "Wait, and no leaving." "Ima cave in their skulls." Gakrel thunders through the trees, axe ready. "Return this instant, both of you imbeciles." Bayorel pays them no mind, tracking the flavorful essence. The aerial trail takes him to a clearing with a pond, boulders piled in the water, forming an island. Atop the stones, there crackles a fire adorned with a pot. In full shining armor, Paladin Astatius stirs the concoction within, gleefully singing to himself. The notes echo from his thick visor. "Ah," the knight declares, "what fortuitous timing, the stew is almost done." "Stew, you know there's a fight going on." "I am aware, but unfortunately duty calls." "Your duty is stew. Or would any food do?" "Any food," the paladin nods. "But we could die without you. We're outnumbered something like, 50 to 1. And I would die without my powers. Healing, dormant, strength. They're but lackluster as is speed." "Forget about it." Bayorel sighs. Yes, I get it, so what the stew fuels all that." "Precisely. Besides, this one is especially special. My specialty, if you will." "Go on." "It has mushrooms, cabbage, moss, pinecones, marmot, and most important of all, noodles." "Noodle stew. Sounds dire. Do not knock it till it is tried, but tea's almost done." With one last almighty stir, Astatius flips open his visor, revealing his bulging black mustache and piercing gaze. He raises the wooden spoon to his lips and sips. His eyes grow wide as a cat's. "Whoa," the rogue says. "Whoa indeed, my slippery, stealthy friend. Now watch this." The paladin bends his legs and jumps, flying over the clearing and through the trees, splintering boughs in his wake. In mere moments, Bayorel hears the death screams of 100 creatures. The iron tang of blood fights the stew for airspace. Climbing up the stones, the rogue perches near the pot, gaining a view over the forest. Green severed arm arcs over an oak, pouring crimson as it goes. With a bellowing call, the dragon soars overhead, a furious glow emanating from its open maw. The treetops become ash as birds fall from the sky. Alcazar chants in the distance, launching a spell at the beast. The sparkling projectile pings off the shimmering scales. Yet as soon as the flaming breath begins to bloom, Astatius hurtles through the ether and jams his sword in the dragon's neck. The monster roars, spiraling and rising high with a single flap, but the paladin remains. He grips his enemy's reddish mane and starts to hack away at its throat. Bayorel cranes his neck, watching the first cut to split the creature's skin, blood and emerald ichor spilling from the wound. The dragon shrieks and dips, descending. It crashes into the forest in a cloud of wood and dirt, flinging Astatius towards the east. The paladin laughs all the way. With the show over, Bayorul glances down, eyeing the steaming brown foodstuff. The spoon still lies in the mix, ready to be lifted. So close to the stew, he notices the hints of thyme, rosemary, and paprika. Could I? He wonders. And would it? Halcyon thumps on the ground nearby, landing from the nearby trees. What happened? Did you see? Of course, Astatius slew the beast and fell somewhere over that way. He points to the rising sun. He should be fine, though. What of our other enemies? All dead or captured. Gakrol's finding out where they came from, using his, the monk shudders, methods, so all is well, I guess. That's good. What is that, anyway? Stew. A special stew, apparently. Astatius made it, and then well, you saw. Intriguing. Have you tried any? I've been thinking about it. Well, what's the worst that could happen? Or so people say. All right. Bayorul hefts the heavy spoon and gives the broth a good few stirs. The food bubbles invitingly, wafting that pleasant steam right up his nose. He licks his lips. Lifting some to the surface, he gives the stew a few blows, releasing the heat. He opens his mouth. A globule of ichor splashes into the pot, showering Bayorul with meat, herbs, and dragon innards. He gasps and gurgles, unable to stop the rising bile. Please, the monk begs, don't do it. I *blug*, can't hold it. You must. No. The monk turns as the rogue spews, catching the fluid on the back of his head. He trips and falls, flailing, as Bayorul spits the last into the stew. The broth turns red and cloudy, bubbling with great ferocity, beginning to churn. Hissing, the metal rim bends, cracking in places. You fool, the monk says, splashing water over his scalp. You have completely ruined his pot and my remaining hair. Well, what was I meant to do? Look any other direction, maybe. Never mind, I guess. Let me break the news to him as you clean yourself up. Which way again? Bayorul lifts a weary arm to the east. Great, he could be anywhere. Watching him leave, the rogue tips the container and pours the tainted mix into the pond. A wave of green fans out across the water where the broth lands, until the whole pool is bubbling. A frog, halfway to a skeleton, bursts from the surface and collapses with a squeak. All alone, Bayorul stands atop the rocks and stares longingly at the distant bank.